Oxford from the inside. The good, the bad, but always the truth.
Hi, I'm Olviya. Welcome back to Oxford from the Inside. The good, the bad, but always the truth. Today, we're joined by Clarissa. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me. I'm Clarissa. I'm a first year biochemist at Trinity College.
Exciting. So, for today's episode, we will be talking about stress, specifically, how do you deal with stress? So, I will hand over to Clarissa.
Sure. So that's definitely an important question, especially when it comes to this university. I think the stress of an Oxford workload is the biggest thing I had to adapt to in Michaelmas term. And it's very different to high school. So as a first year, that's what I've noticed. The terms are when the terms are longer and there's far less course content, it's much easier to manage stress, and you get into these habits that are quite like they work for high school, they don't tend to work for university. And that's because one of the greatest freedoms of university is that you have complete control over how you study, but that can also be a major pitfall. So my biggest tips for stress, it's cliche, but prevention really is better than cure. Avoiding study stress by starting the term right with good work habits is way better than having to claw yourself out of an essay crisis every week. So yeah, definitely something I've been in, but not something I'd recommend. I have a weekly desk planner that I fill in every Sunday, and it's kind of therapeutic for the week ahead. So ensuring that I schedule in my tutorials, labs, and classes first, and then filling lectures in around that, and then adding in any fun stuff, socializing, hiking, that kind of thing, really helps me keep on top of everything. So this will differ between courses, but for biochemistry, we have so many contact hours that sort of fitting it in, and I know that's going to be an envy of the humanities, but fitting in all the contact hours and assignments and getting the balancing act right is the key to preventing stress of backlog. The next thing I think is really important is prioritization and breaking stuff down. So being able to prioritize and helps keep you focused, and it helps you to meet deadlines, which minimizes stress. I've met a lot of people now who say that to-do lists don't work for them, and I think we all have the idea that a to-do list just has ambitious tasks like finish essay and cure cancer just written on.
The to-do list is all about the aesthetic.
And it can be really fun to make, but I think the most helpful kinds of to-do lists are the ones that break it down into 3 tasks. So I have a 3-column to-do list for every type of task, and that's things that are essential, things that are helpful, and things that are a sort of cherry on top. So for instance, if I have an essay, essential things would be read 1 chapter of the textbook and write 10 basic paragraphs. Helpful would be use another textbook as well, include 3 diagrams. I know that as someone who does English, this way of writing an essay is terrible. This is for a science essay. I got to clarify to any listeners. And cherry on top is read 2 recently published articles, include new information on mutation studies, more complex stuff. And so I break down every one of my tasks like this, which means that, problem sheet, it's essential to do the first 5 questions. It's nice to do the next 5. It would be even better if I downloaded questions from online and tried to answer them in my own time as extra revision. But doing that means that I get to do all of the tasks I have to a reasonable degree, and only then do I actually focus on perfecting each one. And that really helps take the edge off, because if you tend towards perfectionism like I do, you tend to obsess over each task. And so this prevents work from building up, and that limits stress. Lastly, I think forgiveness and compassion. It's not always possible to stick to plans. Life gets in the way. So honestly, I went through a traumatic incident at the start of this term, which meant that I've been quite stressed, and I have a large backlog of lectures because of this, and problem sheets I've yet to tackle, all that kind of stuff. At times like this, it's important to forgive yourself. You're not a work machine, you're a human being. Treating yourself with compassion and prioritizing self-care and relaxation during periods of high stress is so important. we're in a pandemic and we still have to carry on with our degrees, for goodness sake. Stress is inevitable. How we respond to it and look after ourselves, that's what's important. If you ever feel like stress is getting you down too much and it's really impacting on your mental health, the most important thing is to reach out to your senior tutor and college wellbeing team. Explain your circumstances. That's what they're there for. They'll help sort it out. And I think the low-level constant stress of an Oxford degree can really suck out the fun of your subject sometimes.
Definitely.
So planning super curricular activities, watching an interesting seminar of a topic that you like, or getting involved in a degree-related society. Olviya, I know you do this, English journalism. It's awesome. And I'm getting involved in science communication. So a little plug for the Oxford Scientist. I'd recommend checking it out. Totally not involved in it.
You heard the lady. No,
but it reminds you that you love the field, you want to be in Oxford and you want to be studying this degree, and that can make the stress worth it sometimes. Okay, that's all from me.
Spoken like a true biochemist. Well, that was actually really interesting. I think you made a really important point. Like, we have to be really kind to ourselves. Like, Oxford is such a high pressure situation, and really we're just there to learn and to kind of like grow from like all the opportunities we get. So like Clarissa said, whenever you are feeling a bit down, whenever you're feeling overwhelmed, reach out to your senior tutors, reach out to your JCR reps, and there's a lot of support and there's a lot of provisions in place at Oxford whenever you feel down. So you're not alone in this. We're all going to get through it together, aren't we?
Of course we are. Thank you, Olviya.
Yes,
thanks for having me.
Well, that's it for this quickfire question. Thank you very much for listening in. Hope you're all having a good day. Goodbye.
Bye.